The 2016 election is unworthy of what America used to be, and it is entirely worthy of what America has become. Jim Garrity writes today at National Review, given two terrible presidential candidate choices, a depressing number of voters have lived down to those standards. Yes, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are terrible presidential candidates, but not all of the blame for this thoroughly depressing election year can be placed at their feet. The primaries gave the general electorate plenty of choices, especially on the Republican side, plenty of excellent, outstanding, tremendous choices that would have won and might have made a dent in trying to turn the country around and restoring the republic. Instead, we got Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Two bad, disliked, dishonest, disgusting, despicable, vindictive, vengeful, destructive options. Oh, I left out corrupt from that list, that litany. And in far too many cases, the general electorate responded appallingly despite the fact that these are the two most unpopular presidential candidates in a single election, certainly in my lifetime. The general electorate has decided, well, yeah, we're going to become like them anyway. And the result is that they responded appallingly, making a crummy situation worse. They have validated the reasons that these two candidates are unpopular in the first place. I mean, the left was already like that. The Democrats were already corrupt. They were already perverts. They were already traitors. They were already disgusting and despicable. And all the rest of it. But now, Republicans have done the same thing. Republicans have done the same thing. They went out and they got their own Barack Obama, their own Bill Clinton. They have their own cult of personality. They wanted their own dictator. Most Republicans, whether Trumplican or conservative, they didn't want to turn the country around. They didn't want to restore the republic. They just wanted their own dictator. They wanted revenge, not revival. Let's start with the violence, shall we? A GOP office was firebombed in North Carolina. A threatening, if ultimately non-hazardous, meant obviously to look like anthrax, white powder was sent to Hillary Clinton's campaign quarters in Brooklyn. There were violent attacks on Trump supporters in what was accurately called a riot in San Jose, California in June. There were headlocks and punches thrown at a Clinton rally in Charlotte, North Carolina. Anonymous death threats have been depressingly common. Some cretin sent a video of a strobe light to a reporter with epilepsy. Everybody's an asshole now, in other words. Even when the hostility is confined to threats rather than actual violence, it is an un-American infringement upon the rights of others to speak their minds and peaceably assemble. In Minneapolis, some fundraiser attendees were pushed and jostled, spit on, and verbally harassed as they left the convention center. In Denver, a man grabbed pro-Trump bumper stickers from a woman selling them outside the city's convention center, ripped some, and threw them in her face. In this atmosphere of perpetually frothing disdain and hatred, can anybody picture America reunifying after this campaign? Never mind the GOP reunifying. I mean, this country was already split 50-50. Now it's split three ways. In this atmosphere, our friends and neighbors who disagree aren't merely mistaken. They've taken a stand that requires anonymous and not so anonymous vigilante deterrence. An Iowa cop took pictures of himself mooning and pointing a gun at a Hillary Clinton campaign sign. Really? Really? In Waco, Texas, a Democrat couple found their Hillary Clinton signs defaced and Benghazi no to corruption, lies, no trust, and you are wrong spray painted on the sidewalk outside their home. In the Baltimore suburbs, large Trump signs have been burned, ripped, and vandalized. A Democrat state house candidate in Michigan was caught stealing campaign signs of his Republican opponent. Now, it used to be the left did these things. Now, the right is retaliating in kind, or the alt-right, anyway. Whatever happened to just expressing your opinion, exercising your First Amendment rights, and leaving it at that? I mean, anybody who has seen this conservative Ronin playlist, these series of videos that I've been putting up for the past 3 months, which they're coming up on 200, I notice, from my dashboard of my YouTube channel, knows that what I think of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And my frustration with former friends, former colleagues, comrades in arms who sold out to the New York liberal con man. But you know what? I have never once felt any urge to fly, even if I had the money to spend on it, to fly down to Southern California and spray paint bleep Trump on the side of Douglas V. Gibbs' house. Or, whatever. I'm in the spirit of, in the same vindictive spirit of these items that I just shared with you. I don't get that. I mean, if somebody supports Trump, they support Trump. I'll give them chapter and verse on why they're wrong, just like anybody who supports Hillary Clinton is wrong. I'll debate that all the live long day. I'm not going to, physically vandalize or attack them or their house or possessions or whatever. I don't get that. Whatever happened to, I disagree vehemently with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Again, the left has been like this for years. Now, the right has fallen into it as well. It is no longer about principle. It's about revenge. Tribalism, if you will. And those incidents don't even begin to cover the unbelievable vulgarity 2016 has unleashed. It would have once been rather shocking, or at least surprising, to see a certain 5-letter word starting with P openly used in American politics. Pussy, in other words. True, Trump's now infamous use of that word seemed to distress many Americans, but it also normalized the word overnight. From the signs urging people not to be one, to the sign declaring it better to grab one than to be one, to one Trump supporter who wore a shirt inviting Trump to grab hers. Remember those feminists who said, I would suck off Bill Clinton in a New York minute if it meant he would keep abortion legal. Remember that? How is this any different? Groupies. Female Trump supporters. Yeah, he can grab my pussy anytime he wants. What's wrong with you people? I know what's wrong with you people. Trump. At Trump's airport rally in Lakeland, Florida, the crowd chanted, CNN sucks! And they got the ratings to prove it. At his rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, they chanted, Paul Ryan sucks! No, he doesn't. As I discussed in my video yesterday, Paul Ryan is he's the highest ranking Republican official in the federal government, and he is a true conservative. You want to restore the republic, turn around the country, Paul Ryan's your man. He knows how to do it because he knows that he has to work within the system. He knows he can't be done overnight. He knows it's going to be a long, hard process. He understands what Otto von Bismarck once said about how politics is the art of the possible. And what Tea Partiers have been demanding for 4 or 5 years now is not possible. It's not a question of one cycle. It's not a question of 2 cycles. It's not a question of fight, fight, fight. I will tell it to you again, and you're not going to want to hear this, but it is the God's honest truth. The left took over a century to get America to this nadir, this low point. They didn't do it overnight. They just kept at it, incrementally, get out as much as they could, and just kept coming back for more, coming back for more. And they didn't have a whole lot of opposition because those of us on the right over the past century didn't really realize that that's what they were doing. There was no awakening at all until, probably a quarter of a century into that process. If you go from FDR's first election in 1932, when William F. Buckley arose and founded National Review, and the embryonic conservative movement got started, and it was another 25 years before it finally reached full fruition and adulthood with the election of Ronald Reagan in 1980. But for a quarter century, the left was unopposed, functionally. There was no Republican Party of any real opposition. So, you think it's going to be easy to turn the country around when the left is going to be, who knows how this game is played, is going to be bitterly resisting every step of the way? Not just resisting, but continuing to push in the wrong direction, push against us. It took a century for the left to degrade America to this point. It may take 2 centuries to turn it around. And that's only if the right is unified and keeps pushing as hard or harder than the left, something that we have proven in this very campaign we are not capable of doing. Rapper YG offers a variety of merchandise featuring the title lyric of his song, and I quote, "Fuck Donald Trump." And a Boston brewery named its latest offer, and I quote, "Trump sucks ass." Yeah, that's clever. Not. It doesn't even matter that it's essentially true. It's just not clever. Come up with something clever. Hump Trump. How about that? At least it would rhyme. It would be somewhat alliterative. You know, let's drag the Constitution back into this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if Douglas V. Gibbs still does that. He can't in the context of Donald Trump. But let's do so for old time's sake. At the close of the Constitutional Convention, when asked, "Well, doctor, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy?" Ben Franklin famously replied, "A republic if you can keep it." Well, we couldn't keep it. We couldn't keep it in 2008. We couldn't restore it in 2012, and now it's too late. And 2016 is the proof. In 2016, the question is no longer whether we can keep it, but whether anybody wants to restore it. That includes Douglas V. Gibbs, who, if he wanted to restore the republic, could not have supported Donald Trump. And really, the answer for too many Americans is, nah, fuck it, it sucks ass. We just want revenge! And revenge is a dish that is best served cold. Bonus segment! And this gets to what's crossing my mind as I finish that last segment, which is unity? Well, I don't expect any unity. I mean, if anything should be abundantly clear after the way that the right is completely shattered, and a large chunk of it effectively defected to the left in this campaign, there's not going to be any grand right-wing group hug, reunion, reunification, closing ranks in opposition to President Hillary Clinton. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen, man. And nobody should expect it to. It should. You would think if stopping Hillary was the idea, then you would think so, wouldn't you? But then, well, stopping Hillary was never the point of Trump mania. So why would it start being the point of Trump mania after Trump's defeat? There are those who have argued for a long time that these fissures were always there. And Trump simply recognized that fact and took a sledgehammer to them. And that's, I mean, well, the Humpty Dumpty analogy comes to mind. This is from a Red State Diary. Mickey White composed this. This would have been, today. Election 2016, losing the lessons along with the votes. Now, this election cycle is not lacking in unsolicited opinions. You can say that again, brother. Yet some of us still find ourselves woefully underrepresented in the media and even in the blogs. Most Americans are not. This is what the Tea Party just would never understand. Most Americans are not hyper-partisan political junkies that seize on every process story or whisper of a scandal. Most are just people trying to get through their everyday struggles with the hope that the choices made by the government won't cost them their jobs or make their monthly bills go up. I mean, I know what Douglas V. Gibbs has said for years. You don't sit on your couch and bitch about this or that. Get up off your ass and do something about it. Yeah, well, those people are few and far in between, Mr. Gibbs. Should it be that way? I'm not arguing that. Is it that way? Hell yeah. And as Nick Fury said in Cap 2, Shield takes the world as it is, not as we would like it to be, and it's getting damn past time for you people to get with that program. If there is a silent majority left, it is these people, low information voters, people who don't care about politics, and the more it becomes like it's been becoming, the less they care about it, the more they want to get away from it. I mean, is there anything that's been inspired about this campaign? I mean, it's like a scriptural passage about when Paul the Apostle tells his readers to focus on that which is good and right and just and pure. Focus on these things. Not that other crap, in essence. Nobody wants to be inspired. Everyone wants to be entertained by the lowest common denominator, and there is no more low. There's no lower common denominator than Donald J. Trump. And talking about politics has become so toxic that lifelong friends have severed relationships. Witness Mr. Gibbs and myself. Over posts on social media. Well, it wasn't over that. Now think about that. When I first joined Facebook, Mickey White's anyway, entire purpose was to play a game called Heroes. He'd go in every day to work and, oh, he has a job, huh? Lucky him. and blow up people with his mind, a power he had earned through play. No, he's not telekinetic, but just it's a metaphor. For those of you in Murrieta, California. Now, it was fun, and it never occurred to him that many years ago, that this same platform would become a battleground for American politics. Not once, but then is there any aspect of life that's not a political battleground anymore? No safe spaces to be found. When he first joined Twitter, Mickey White that is, it was mainly bloggers desperately trying to get people to read their blogs. There were shared links and support for those that shared similar views. When those same bloggers finally got the opportunity to have a platform, they forgot what drew them or people to them in the first place. Their individual voice, sharing ideas that weren't fed to them by what the news outlets were doing. That's pretty much all I do. Whether on my blog, conservativeronin.com, or my podcast, Hard Starboard Radio, blogtalkradio.com/HSR Network, or the Hard Starboard Radio channel on YouTube. Now, Twitter for many has become a place where they can demean those that disagree and have 1,000 lemmings retweet it for all the lulz, as the kids say. While there are many to blame for the falling level of discourse, none are more responsible than those who, for reasons unknown to me, chose to become what can only be described as a love child of Andrew Dice Clay and Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. I don't know. Is Donald something for me to poop on? Do you have any gray poop on? Who puts mustard in their glove compartment anyway? I think it would smell after a while. Or burst. If it's summer. Anyway, these lowbrow comedy accounts sent a clear message. I will say anything to gain more attention and followers. Literally anything. Again, lowest common denominator. Exhibitionism. Hey, look at me! Andy Warhol, 15 minutes of fame. And what is worse is that as these internet Sam Kinnisons led many people to believe that they were the cool kids, and this behavior was not only acceptable, but completely normal. The ugliness we see this year is a result of seeds planted over the last 8 years. We as a people want to have our own feelings validated. We want to be part of a group, especially one that includes celebrities, social media, or otherwise. It's human nature. Might help explain why I tend to be a loner, because I'm not a joiner. Never have been, never will be. Now, when those with a platform choose to use it to advance their own career, sometimes that gets lost on their followers. This election cycle may be defined by the inexcusable behavior of the alt-right, but the Trump-adjacent people have done just as much damage. Most Americans don't dedicate hours of their lives watching cable news networks or reading every article ever written, so they've learned to rely on people they trust to share the info they should know. What has happened inside the conservative community is nothing short of a betrayal of that trust. Conservative in quotes. If you have a platform based on being a conservative and a giant following because of that title, it would serve us well if you acted like it. Yeah, Doug, I didn't betray your readers. You betrayed your readers, and they betrayed themselves. Political Pistachio would be a much better site right now if you had left it and left it to me to run. Because I was giving your readers the truth about Donald Trump that they didn't want to hear, but that they desperately needed to. Making excuses for racism, misogynists, and flat-out fraud is a sure way to lose credibility, and fast, Doug. It's great, Doug, that you're going to be teaching the Constitution in inner city schools and whatever through this core program, if you can ever get the funding for it. Good for you. Great. Try not to let them know that you have not a shred of credibility with which to do so. You have the knowledge, but you don't have any real commitment to it. Why? You supported Donald Trump. That's why. I would be credible in that role. You're not, and at least not to anybody who knows what I know. Now this election is just 2 weeks away, and it pains me. Deeply pains me. Why do you think I get so passionate about this topic? It's because we, never Trump, really did want to stop Hillary, and you people made it impossible. You people have stuck us with Hillary Clinton. It pains me deeply to see people I once respected, including you, Doug, continue to bang the drums for Trump. We witnessed people go from seemingly solid voices of reason to conspiracy mongers for clicks and attention. Yeah, I was taking money out of your pocket, Doug, by telling your readers and your followers the truth. And you didn't want to hear the truth. So you made a business decision, which is fine. I mean, it was your gig and such. But you were not operating off of principle. You were operating off of your pocketbook. And I know you can't eat principles, but you can't go around and claim to be principled after selling out to Trump. You just can't do it, Doug. Some of us know better. It's heartbreaking for those of us who fought for credibility for Republicans for all those years, decades, to watch it all go down the shitter with the rise of this mean-spirited sect. Buy my book became much more important than this is the truth. Well, buy my book, come to my Constitution classes. Doug Gibbs has 4 books, to my knowledge. I mean, he was working on a 5th, the last I knew. I even generously offered to, hey, send it when you're done. Send it to me. I'll still edit your books. You seem to think I'm so awesome at it. So, when you finish your next book, send it to me. I haven't heard a word about it. I don't know if he's just been doing other things, put it on the back burner. I couldn't tell you. All I know is it's 5 months later, and I haven't seen anything or heard anything about it. The only thing he has contacted me about was guest hosting Constitution Radio about a month ago. That's it. Your guess is as good as mine. But yeah, you cared more about selling your books and getting people to come to your Constitution classes than you did about the truth, Doug. Yeah, that is sad. That is pathetic. Disappointing. See, some wanted this power and fleeting fame more than they cared about the causes they claimed to represent. In Doug Gibbs's case, the United States Constitution, constitutional originalism, and restoring the Republic, resurrecting it. That's just not how most Americans deal with life. If you believe in something in your core, there is no amount of money or even more pathetically social media fame that will change that. You know, this election cycle is going to end in 2 weeks. What we do when it's over will determine whether the conservative movement survives. Short of a purge with the burning fires of hell, it's not looking good for the home team. The question remains, does anyone have the balls to light the fire for the controlled burn needed to replenish the political forest? Only time will tell if we learned a single lesson from this disaster of an election cycle. My fear is that many lessons will be ignored in the coming swell of excuses given by those who got us into this mess. My hope is that Americans and conservatives in particular won't forget. Well, you can guarantee that true conservatives, like never-Trumpers, will never forget. And you can guarantee that we will never let you people forget, because Trump supporters will never stop making excuses. One thing you can count on after November 8th, 2016, the GOP civil war will rage on.